It's time to actually look in the mirror and see who you really are. That was kind of the beginning of the path of really honoring myself and knowing myself to such a core deep level that I wasn't afraid to look in the mirror anymore. I think back, gosh, if I would have had this information when I was a young woman, I could have avoided so much turmoil and trauma. If we're granted permission to be uniquely us, and we don't have to try and fit in the box that someone else has created for us.
Right.
So when we can lead our lives according to the guidance of our human design, things are just easier. There's less resistance. There's less chaos. There's more alignment. Most of the time, in my experience, people are operating so far outside of their energetic operating system.
Yes.
That once we readjust that and pivot back to really embodying it and living it every day, like it's transformational.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stephanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. You guys, today I have Dena Jensen with me, and I'm so excited about this episode. I don't know if I've said this before, but I have just been having some really, really powerful and aligned downloads about the podcast lately, like ideas of guests that I should be bringing on, ideas of topics I should be covering. I just actually reached out and there's something that's in the works for a mini series coming this fall that I'm also really excited about. These ideas have just been like lighting a fire under my ass. So I'm really excited because Dena was a download I had about a month ago, and I was hesitant on reaching out to her, but I just kind of did it on a whim, and she totally loved the idea. So today I have Dena Jensen. I just want to give you a little bit of background about who Dena is, and then I'm going to let her take over and share a little bit about herself. But the reason I brought Dena on today is because she is a human design guide. She's also, besides that, she's also a nature lover, a travel enthusiast. Through her own journey, she has discovered the holistic side of healing and now guides others on that same path, which that could be a whole other podcast episode, I feel, because I would also love to talk to you about that, Dena. Besides that, she's a wife, a mom to 3 amazing kiddos, one very special 4-legged soul named Olive. Dena is known for her grounded, unconventional approach to life and her deep passion for helping others reconnect with their authentic energy through human design. She also weaves wisdom from the natural world with practical insights, helping her clients break free from old patterns and just ultimately live in greater alignment. With Dena, you will not get cookie cutter life advice or one size fits all approach. Instead, she's going to guide others how to live in deep alignment with their true nature, which is unique for every human being. If you are ready to break free from old conditioning, honor your unique energy, and create a life that feels expansive and true, then you are in the right place because Dena is here to share her magic with us. So welcome, Dena. Thank you for agreeing to come on today.
Thank you, Stephanie. I think this is a great reminder that we are here to listen to those intuitive nudges and those little guides and the knocks on our shoulders because they're here for a reason. And again, love sacred contracts, special people that pop into our life when we least expect it can lead to the most magical and embodied experiences. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I completely agree. The nudges, you can't ignore those. My rule of thumb is like if I get 3 nudges in a row, like, okay, it's time to act. You shouldn't need more than 3 nudges from the God or the universe. So I just acted on the first one with you.
Amen for that. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I kind of have an interesting story with human design. It first showed up in my life around 2018. And it was something that I just couldn't relate to in the beginning, and it felt very foreign. So it was like trying to read Chinese, and I had no experience reading Chinese. It was
Right.
just not, I wasn't ready for it, I don't think. But it just kept showing up consistently through conversations and interactions with people and on books that I would come across, like just those little spirit drops. And I'm like, all right, there's something here I need to pay attention to. And it was about a year later, around 2019, and this is a fun story. I was getting ready for my daughter's graduation.
Okay.
We were having the party at our house, and I was in that mode of getting everything clean and ready for guests. And as I was walking through my house cleaning, I had my cleaning cloths and was going through, and I counted 21 mirrors in my house. And a little background before that was I had a hairstyle that I never had to look in the mirror for. It was just a wash and go hairstyle.
Sure.
Never wore makeup. Never liked to look at myself in the mirror. Never liked to go clothes shopping. I didn't ever want to see myself.
Interesting.
And after cleaning these 21 mirrors, and it was kind of in that like a very transitionary stage in my like soul spiritual evolution.
Yeah.
Like I just had this breakdown, and I laid in a puddle on the floor, and it's just like spirit-led message was, how many more mirrors am I going to have to put up in this house for you to see yourself? And it was just like, all right, Dena, it's time to actually look in the mirror and see who you really are. And that was kind of the beginning of the path of really honoring myself and knowing myself to such a core deep level that I wasn't afraid to look in the mirror anymore. I was ready to see myself. And it was through that experience that human design again kept showing up. I'm like, okay, this is the avenue. This is the map for me to figure this out. And so I did some intense investments in time and energy and resources, money, all of the things in order to really learn the system. And oh my goodness, it was transformational. I always felt like I didn't belong. Like I didn't even belong on this planet. Like I didn't.
Are you a starseed?
Likely.
Okay. Cause it sounds like you are. So
certain, but also my entire life, I had been raised in a family of generators and manifesting generators. And so my entire life, I was living outside of my energy and what I was like. So I was in complete burnout mode majority of my life and never really learned my own boundaries and what was safe for me to operate in. I was always, human design teaches us how we can honor who we were created to be. And everyone is uniquely created to be their own person. And so honoring that and then raising my children according to who they are and not what I think they should be, it's so empowering. And I think back, gosh, if I would have had this information when I was a young woman, I could have avoided so much turmoil and trauma and all of those things. So it's like, this is something that everyone needs to know about. And when we raise our children according to that information and honoring their beauty and uniqueness, it's so empowering. Like we're granted permission to be uniquely us, and we don't have to try and fit in the box that someone else has created for us.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. That's so well said. And holy shit, what a powerful story, Dena. That's amazing. The mirrors, like the significance of the mirrors, that's so fascinating. Yeah. Love that for you. So for somebody who truly has like never heard of human design, this is a brand new concept to them. Can you explain what that is? I actually just explained it to my mom and sister over the weekend because I was telling them that you're coming on the podcast and they were like, well, what is human design? And I'm like, oh, I guess I just take for granted that people know what this means and they don't. Yes. So I had some practice at explaining it to them. They kind of were our foreigners to this. So if you could do the same for listeners who are not familiar, that would be great.
Absolutely. Human design is a blueprint of who we were created to be. It shows our strengths, our shadows. It shows us how we're meant to communicate with the world. It shows us all of the little intricacies of really who we are. And I like to explain it as like moving blind and barefoot. My moving blind and barefoot theory. We can only be raised according to how our parents thought it was best to raise us, right?
Mhm.
And when we are given this blueprint or this map, everybody always says, no one teaches you how to be a parent, or we're not born with a guidebook, but we really are. And so it's different from any type of like an Enneagram test or a
Yeah.
personality test, where
Yeah.
if you answer a question differently, you might come up with a different answer or a different box of what you fit into. So human design is based on your date of birth, the time that you were born, and where you were born on the planet. And it's formulated through many different ancient modalities that kind of many different systems put together, but it creates this map, this blueprint of who you were created to be. And I'm kind of a librarian in helping you to sort out or organize that information, or help to guide you in what's relevant. That's what I bring to the table in my coaching business is what do you need right now, and how can your human design serve that, or help to guide you down the path of least resistance so that we don't have so much turmoil and turbulence. It's like it's the moving barefoot and blind theory, where we can, our path back to ourselves, back home, is either through this luscious grass and this nourished fertile soil, or it's walking barefoot across gravel and rocks and all of these things. So like one is very comfortable and familiar. It feels good. That's following your human design. The other one is unfamiliar. It's uncomfortable. It's unnavigated. We're walking through rocks. Everything is hard. It hurts. Like life isn't supposed to be that way.
Right.
So
right.
when we can lead our lives according to the guidance of our human design, things are just easier. There's less resistance. There's less chaos. There's more alignment. And everybody's designed to do things differently. And when we know what that is, we can follow it and just feel better. Physically, emotionally, mentally. Human design came into play when I started to, in my holistic wellness business. So many times people were operating so far outside of their operating system that they're physically sick and they have all of these things going on. And like, well, let's cut through the bullshit and let's really like identify the root issue of what's happening. So most of the time, in my experience, people are operating so far outside of their energetic operating system.
Yes.
That once we readjust that and pivot back to really what is your operating system, and identifying and knowing that, and not just like having that information, but embodying it and living it every day, like it's transformational.
It is. I agree. Yeah. When I first learned about my human design type and first like got my chart done, it was so eye-opening. And that really changed the way I looked at my businesses. And it made me realize you can truly have a soul-aligned business. And it's not a guessing game. It's not like, well, I think this feels soul aligned. Like looking at my chart, getting that read and understanding that more in depth helped me realize like, okay, this is a factor I need to be building into my business. This is something I need to be taking into consideration. It wasn't a guessing game anymore. It wasn't like, well, what is my intuition telling me? It's like, no, this is what's truly aligned for me. So can you explain what are the different human design types?
Yes. So there's 5 different types in human design. And I think this is one of the first things that people learn about themselves. I think my biggest point here is that just because you're a generator or just because you're a projector does not define you. Like there's so many nuances, so many levels, so many layers of human design. It's really like 10% of what you need to know about yourself. So while it's transformational to have that information, it's such a small part of like the big picture of how you should operate. So first up, generators are like 35% of the population. And generators, if you have a defined sacral, if you're looking at your body graph. So we should tell people how to get a body graph.
Yeah, I'm going to grab mine.
So if you go to geneticmatrix.com, you can pull up a free body graph, and it's going to pull up kind of this picture, and there's weird numbers and there's weird shapes, and there's 9 different energy centers that kind of define how your energy kind of moves. And there's a whole lot of information there, but it's going to tell you a profile number, like 2 numbers, and then your type. And so one of the 5 types is generators. And so your generator, if your sacral is defined, that's a pink square down towards the bottom of the body graph. And if this is lit up for you, it identifies you as a generator. Generators are really here to respond to life and kind of the worker bees of society, but they just are here to be guided by what lights them up. So many times I experience generators who are just kind of in that burnout mode, and because they're not doing things that their signal says, oh my gosh, yes, I'm here to do this. So generators, it's either a hell yes or a no.
Yep, I have heard that before.
Yeah. So next up, we have manifesting generators. If your sacral is defined and you have a motor center that's connected to your throat, then you're a manifesting generator. So meaning that the manifesting generators have that sacral defined, but they also have an energy channel to their throat. So they're here to really they have that manifestation energy, the ability to kind of call things out into the world. Great communicators. They're here to do things really fast. They just are kind of these energizer bunnies that still do need periods of rest. They're also 35% of the population. When I talk about the non-energy beings, I'm talking about manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. Not that they don't have energy, but they don't have the same capacity of energy as energy beings, as generators and manifesting generators. So when we're talking about the other three types, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors have an open or a white sacral. So that pink square down towards the bottom, the second one up from the bottom, is white. And so what that means is that as generators and manifesting generators wake up with a 50-gallon drum of energy to disperse throughout the day, projectors, manifestors, and reflectors have a shot glass full of energy. So it's very important to learn the boundaries around and using your strategy and your authority to guide you throughout the day of what's in alignment for you and what isn't. So a lot of times, specifically as projectors, waiting for an invitation, waiting for the right invitation is critical and crucial for operating and not expending too much energy, because when that happens, we get into that burnout mode. Same as manifestors, they're here to really initiate things in the world and bring things to life. And they need to inform other people when they're going about doing things, because it really calls in the people that want to help them. And then it avoids the frustration for the manifestor when they can avoid the people that kind of get in their way or people that interrupt them. Is just really, manifestors don't like that at all. And then we have the reflectors, and they're here to really just kind of be a mirror to the rest of us in the world and help us see ourselves for who we are. And if you have a reflector in your life, they're really 1% of the population. And so they're really, really very special beings here to help us see ourselves in a very strong way.
Interesting. Okay. So I found out through my human design that I'm a projector. And one of the big things that stood out for me when I was digging into this last year with my business coach was, because of being a projector, a big thing for me in my business is I am not going to go out and seek clients. I'm not salesy. I'm not going to be out there trying to get you to buy my services. I'm just going to let you organically come to me. You're going to seek me out. And that hit home so strongly for me, because I've never really been the salesy type. And in general, I feel here in Eastern Iowa, you really don't have to advertise a lot. I feel word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing around here. So that's been great. But in general, I'm not going to come seek out my clients. It just doesn't feel aligned for me. And that has continued to be true both in my therapy private practice and my coaching business. I'll market my business, but I'm not going to constantly put myself out there in misaligned ways in hopes that you will take the bait and buy my program. And that learning that was the validation that I needed early on. I mean, that was one piece of the puzzle when I learned about my human design type. And I just think it's interesting.
Projectors are really feared to be a guide and a lighthouse for others. And when we stay in our own energy and we honor our own magic, we become kind of a beacon for others. And it's not being someone else. It's that authentic, unique, honoring who you are. And that becomes so magnetic and attractive to other people because they want that for themselves as well. And so without a lot of effort and just honoring my authentic self, the right people show up in the right timing for them and for me. And so it's this, and there are always these blessed, soul-led, sacred contracts that bring so much value to my life, because not only am I what that person needs, oftentimes that person is here to teach me something as well. So it's just this unique exchange of spiritual magic that just...
Yeah. And I've experienced that so far with every coaching client I've had. Like, they're purchasing my program because they see benefit, they see value that I can give them. But there has always been an exchange. Like, there's been something that they've given me that I didn't anticipate happening. So you're spot on with that. I totally agree.
So how familiar are you with your authority, being an emotional projector?
Okay, authority is how I make decisions. My authority is emotional. Yes.
So there's hierarchies in our authorities, and our authorities are really here to help us how to best make aligned decisions.
Yes.
And there's a hierarchy in your chart. So if you're looking at your chart and you're still like, yes, Dena, this is Chinese. Help me figure out what this means. So we know your type. We've identified what that is. And then the next part is the authority and your decision-making process. We are conditioned since childhood to think with your head. Like, what are you thinking? Use your brain. We've heard that embedded into us since, we were very, very young. And the reality is it's not your head. It's not your thinking for anyone. No one should be thinking with our head. So it's really teaching that embodied wisdom of what your body is here to tell you and how it's here to guide you. And so a big part of the coaching program is reteaching people what they thought to be true for them, and really honoring the wisdom of what their body can bring to the table and how it can guide into their lives. When you're looking at your graph chart, if you have a brown triangle filled in on the right-hand side, you're going to be an emotional authority.
Right.
A lot of the population is an emotional authority. So that just means that you're really led by your emotions. And I think that can be misrepresented too, because people think, oh, I'm just so emotional. Where, we could talk for hours about this, but just recognizing that emotional authorities, you are here to be led by your emotions. And those emotions carry so much wisdom. You know what it means to be in the high of the highs and the low of the lows. And so waiting for kind of that lull to show up, it's like a volume on a stereo. When the emotions are high and the knob is turned up really loud, you're not going to know what the right decision is for you. There's too much noise. There's too much intervention. There's too much chaos. You have to wait for that wave to settle down and that noise to come to a lull, to a normal operating zone, so that you can hear what's right for you. So you can feel what your body knows to be true for you. Same thing with where do I go next? It's just a constant wave, and depending on, you'll see that there's different channels coming off of that brown triangle on the right-hand side, depending on what numbers are defined or what gates are activated for you, what channel you have coming off of that will determine how you're comforted, what you need for that emotional wave to feel more safe or more gentle versus the chaos of the big emotions or the lows of the low emotions. So
that really resonates, because some of the notes that I took the last time I had a reading done on this was, when it comes to making decisions in my business, I need to be willing to sleep on it and sit with it, not make any impulsive decisions. And it aligns with exactly what you're saying. A roller coaster of emotions are inside of us. You need to see what your body says or does over time to then find that emotional clarity, but do not make decisions if you are out of emotional alignment. That has been huge for me. I've never been an impulsive decision maker. I feel, especially as I've grown more spiritually, I've definitely been the type to okay, what is my intuition telling me? But because we live in such an emotional world, and there's this constant clutter, outside opinions and social media and news, and you name it, there's all these different outside voices that could potentially be impacting our decisions. But this, for me, really, again, validated that you have the answers inside of you. You just need to sit with it. You just need to go within. What you said really resonated, because I do tend to okay, I need to go out in nature. I need to go for a walk. I need to ground myself. And then what is my intuition telling me? That's how I now make decisions in business. So that's spot on, hearing you say that.
Very much. So for you specifically, you have the 3740 channel. So your emotional center is directly connected to your heart space. So this also has lots of other names. It's known as the ego center, the heart center, will center, it's sometimes known as. But essentially, your emotional center is heart led. Every decision that you make is from your heart, and that's all of your aligned decisions are coming from that heart space of and the 3740 is all about community. It's a very tribal channel. It's the gate of friendship. It's the gate of aloneness, but it's very much your tribe, like your close circle, your coworkers, your clients, your family, your friends. It's that tight-knit circle. And it very much leads and guides you into the aligned decisions. And every decision that you make is heart-led. So you can just tell by looking at your chart that every decision that you make is really for what is best for your tribe. So I can look at your chart and just see that everything that you do is very heart-led. So it's
100%
really fun to see.
Yeah, completely agree.
And also that channel, that tribal channel, is when you're out of alignment or when your nervous system is in that high wave or that low wave, you're soothed by physical touch.
Yeah. Yep. That hits home.
So I have 3 emotional children. Myself and my husband we both have open emotional centers. We're actually both empaths. That's been a crazy wild.
Cool. That's my husband and I are both empaths too. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So I believe also that I was blessed with 3 different types of children, all have emotional centers, to really understand the emotional authority and how that shows up in the different types of people. I have a manifestor, I have a Dena Jensen, and I have a generator. They're all emotional.
My gosh. So, wow.
Recognizing that each one of them has different channels coming off of that emotional center, and each one feels soothing in a different way. But I know how to nourish them based on that. So it's the biggest gift that you can give your children, is knowing how to support and guide them through life. And we have the tools to do that through human design.
That's fascinating about your kids. That's so interesting. Okay.
Hey there, listeners. Are you ready to elevate your mindset and manifest your goals? If you're a female entrepreneur or someone who's been dreaming of starting your own business, I have something so exciting to share with you. I'm Stephanie Dingbaum, and I've just launched my 12-week coaching program, the Up-Level Method. It is designed to help you gain clarity, build confidence, and create the soul-aligned business and life that you've been dreaming of. So here's what you'll all get in the program: weekly one-on-one coaching calls tailored specifically to meet your goals, Voxer access for real-time support and accountability throughout the week from me, customized tools like journal prompts, meditations, and follow-up emails to keep you aligned and on track throughout the week, plus guidance to overcome imposter syndrome, rewrite limiting beliefs, and shift into an abundance mindset. The Up-Level Method isn't just about checking off goals. It's about helping you step into your power as a CEO, make decisions that light you up, and build a business that feels truly authentic to who you are. And the best part? The current pricing is literally the lowest that it will ever be. If you're even slightly considering it, lock it in now, because this investment in your future self will pay off tenfold, I promise you. Payment plans are available, so don't let finances hold you back from stepping into your best self. This is your chance to stop second guessing and start showing up for your business and life with purpose and intention. If this feels aligned, DM or email me today to set up a free clarity call. Let's see if the Up-Level Method is the right fit for you. All the details are in the show notes. This is your time. Let's make 2025 the year you up-level everything.
Can we move into, okay, we've just been talking about authority. Can we talk about strategy? Can you talk a little bit about that? So if I just have written down that strategy is how you react with stimulus from outside and how to use your energy to find alignment or create opportunities.
Right. There are different authorities. When we're speaking specifically on authorities, if you don't have that emotional center defined, if it's not brown, we move into that sacral center. Sacral, that middle pink square in your body graph is known as the sacral. And this is that intuitive, it's the gut response. It's that gut wisdom. That sacral talks in yeses and nos. So if you're a sacral authority, if you're a pure generator, you will know how to answer questions or know what's right for you through that sacral voice. And the sacral really talks to in that yes and no answer. So having a generator child, they can't expand on things, but they for sure can answer in yeses and nos. And so it's teaching yourself to answer life's things through yes and no responses and really learning to trust that. So in the beginning, it's, do you want lemonade? It's either a yes or a no answer, but when we practice those things with simple, easy things, then the bigger things become, less complicated when we can honor and trust that authority within ourselves.
Love it.
It's very like, what does your gut say? Like, this is teaching those sacral authorities to really, really trust the gut.
Mm.
If you don't have either one of those, then we move on to the splenic authority. And spleen is the brown triangle on the left side of the body graph. And so the spleen is really kind of mysterious. I always say it's kind of like a voice with Tourette's because it just shows up once. It just talks like really bluntly, like it's that thing that just shows up and like you hear this voice in your head or this message comes through and you're like, well, where the heck did that come from? That's the splenic intuition. It's all that inner knowing, the intuition. It's very spirit-led. It's a very old wise voice. Like that splenic voice is very strong. If you don't have any of those authorities, or if you don't have any of those boxes highlighted or defined, then we move on to the ego, and that's the heart center. And so that means that you make choices in life based on what's best for you, and that strong ego, knowing what is correct and in alignment for you. If that's not highlighted, we move on to the G center. And the G center is the yellow diamond in the center. This happens to be my authority. I'm a self-projected projector. So that means that what I like, sometimes I say things and I don't even know what it is. Like when I honor myself and I trust that my body and my voice knows the right things for me, sometimes things come out. I'm just like, well, where did that even come from?
Yeah.
But self-projected authorities need to have the opportunity to speak their voice and be able to say the things that they need to say without restriction. A large part of my life, I felt like I was being choked, like there was this restriction, like actually like hands on my throat. And now I just know that I wasn't able to express myself effectively. And so those things get restricted, that energy stays stagnant in our body. And over time, specifically manifesting generators, if they're not able to express themselves effectively through that defined throat, and there's years of constriction there, we have a lot of thyroid issues. It can even lead to like neck problems. So this is all the physical ailments that show up when we're not living according to our energy types.
That's so fascinating.
So it really is. So the last two more authorities, if you don't have any of those lower energy centers defined, if they're white, you might be a mental projector. If you're anything below the throat, the ajna, the upside down green, well, these are mental authorities. So they really need a sounding board. They don't have an inner authority to help guide them. They really have to use other people to help them figure things out. And if you have no centers defined, that means that you're a reflector and you have a lunar authority. So you really have to wait a moon cycle or 30 days to be able to ride the wave of a full month time in order to know aligned decisions, to make big decisions. So again, those reflectors are really, really special.
Oh, that's so interesting. As you're
Yes.
talking, I'm like, oh, I know somebody like that. It's just, you're like putting the pieces together, I feel. So
I play this game now, like where I meet people, I'm like, oh, they're definitely a scenic authority,
I
or
bet.
they have a defined ashna. It's like I had to try and guess what their body graph is, and sometimes it's just a fun game to
Yeah.
say, hey, when were you born? Can I get your date of birth? Can I write your
Yeah.
chart?
Yeah. I don't blame you. If I had those tools, I would be the same way. So I
Okay,
love that.
so let's move on to strategies.
Strategy.
Strategy.
Okay.
Yes. So projectors have, no, sorry. Should we go into that? That's kind of a lot. Or
There
should we
is a
go more
lot. If
into
you
you?
just want to talk about mine and or yours, I'm fine with that. So my strategy says wait for the invitation, which this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier. It says I'm designed to wait to be invited, especially with big decisions, friendships, romance, work opportunities, before you share your guidance or advice with others. Make yourself known and seen, but wait to be invited to give guidance. That's
Exactly.
my
So
business.
every person has approach on how they should communicate with life, and each type has one specific to them. And so specifically for projectors, it's waiting for an invitation. And when I first learned that, I was just like, oh, God, I'm just going to sit home. I'm just wait for things to happen.
Yes.
And I was really annoyed and I didn't understand it. And so it's really only when it pertains to other people. You can do whatever you want on your own island. You can, it is soul led. You get free permission to do whatever it is. When it comes to interacting with other human beings, this is when you must wait for an invitation.
Mhm.
Remember, you're only given that shot glass full of energy to
Right.
expend throughout the day. And so when you're offering information and wisdom to other people who aren't ready to hear it or don't want to hear what you have to say, that wall comes up. And projectors are very focused. They're like, their aura is very penetrating.
Mhm.
And that can be very uncomfortable for people if they're not ready or open to receiving that.
Right.
And so that's why it's critical to make sure that we're interacting with other people after we receive an invitation, because it still shows up when I open my mouth to something that wasn't invited.
Yeah.
I feel bitter and resentful, and all those negative feelings come in of my voice isn't worthy. No one wants to hear what I have to say. All of that shadow, not self stuff shows up.
I agree.
And it really can help. When we're aware of that, when we can navigate, like, oh, I wasn't asked. I wasn't invited to share that. That person isn't ready for what I have to say.
Yeah.
Then I know that, what I do know, what the information that I can lead and guide other people for, there are people ready. There are people waiting. So it's just, timing is everything when it comes to that.
I agree. That was very validating for me in the beginning when I learned about that. And then that really, from there, I really dove into, you already talked about the authority. From there, I really dove into my profile and that I'm a 3/5, because I think there was something with that. Yeah, it says I am the great life experimenter. So realizing that I'm a 3/5, 3 being the experimenter, 5 being the leader, literally is the why behind my podcast. So being an experimenter, the 3 part of my profile is sharing my honest experience, trial and error, sharing what worked and what didn't work, which is what I do on the podcast. 5 being the leader part of my profile, which is what I have written down as calling out the BS and saying what others are afraid to say, but in a healthy way. That was literally the why behind me starting my podcast, was like, I have shit to say and you're going to hear it. I'm not making myself small anymore. And getting those profile numbers, like understanding what that meant, was like, holy shit, like that's why I'm here behind the mic doing what I'm doing and saying what I'm saying. It was so freaking validating.
It is pure fuck around and find out energy. You are here to do all of that and then guide other people based on what you've learned.
Yeah.
So you
100%.
get full and free permission to do that, to experiment, to adventure, to explore, to do things physically yourself in order to know how it works. Nobody can tell you how to do anything. You physically have to do it yourself in order to know the value and retain what you're going to move forward and leave behind what doesn't work for you.
Yeah. And I feel like that really aligns well with my strategy. So like yeah, in the private practice world and my coaching business, I'm not out there like hyper focused on getting people to come in and buy my program. I'm letting them come to me. On the podcast side of the business, I am speaking my truth. I'm sharing my wisdom. I'm trying to be a thought leader. Like, it just, those things to me just felt like they aligned so well. So I can speak my truth and I can put myself out there while also just organically letting people walk in the door for my services. Like, I don't know, to me, like, they just really feel cohesive.
But that's how your strategy and your authority, like, you're really embodying that. It's not just a piece of information that you've learned about yourself. You're really practicing and bringing that into practice, like through full embodiment. And that's one of the big ways that we can really allow human design to help guide and lead us through life is that yin and yang. It's the moon and the sun. It's the polar opposite. It's learning that your strategy and authority like interplay consistently. It's using that emotional authority, waiting, giving yourself time. Let me think about that and get back to you, and leaning in, knowing that your authority, that emotional wave, is going to help guide you through the right decisions and waiting for the right invitations. It's that infinite wave of using both of those things to help guide you through life. So we have these road signs kind of that help us to identify when we're operating in alignment and when we're not. So even if you're not familiar with human design, or you've got your chart and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to navigate this at all, you can rely on some emotions to help you identify when things are in alignment for you and when they're not. So for generators, you can identify when you're in that state of frustration, something's out of alignment for you. When a generator is operating in alignment and things are really flowing according to their optimal energy, they're going to feel very satisfied. They're going to end the day with a bag of satisfaction in their lap. It's like driving down the road and you get off the road and those rumble strips show up. It's like everybody has these rumble strips that help us identify, okay, something's out of alignment. I need to follow my strategy and authority to get back on the true path of what is me. For manifesting generators, they're going to experience frustration and anger when they're out of alignment. When they're in their ideal operating zone, they're going to feel a very strong sense of peace and satisfaction. Our manifestors in life, they get angry. You're going to know when a manifestor is out of alignment. My son is a great example of this, because he just needs to go off, and he needs to go off and be by himself. And then when he can reset his nervous system, he comes back and he's just like the most peaceful kid ever. He's just like this most grounded, big teddy bear peace energy. For projectors, when we are out of alignment, we're going to feel very bitter or resentful or not seen, not recognized.
Yep.
When we have that alignment, we're going to feel very successful, or just it's that satisfaction of, I helped somebody today.
Yeah.
I made a difference.
Yeah.
And then our reflectors, they feel very disappointed when they are not in alignment. But then when they are, they kind of have this element of surprise that helps them to know when they're operating in the right energy. We can use these emotions to help guide us and let us know when those rumble strips show up. But we have to pivot to get back on a aligned road.
That's fascinating.
Cross that really helps us narrow down, our true path in life, our conscious sun. This is the top right box. If you see the numbers going down the left and the numbers going down the right, your Stephanie specifically, yours is gate 40, and in through the energy of line 3. So as a 3/5 emotional projector, that 3 comes from that 40.3.
Okay, I see that.
So you get to experience kind of your conscious sun is like a really strong theme in your life. It shows up consistently. It's something that you're kind of always, it's just a really strong energy in people's lives. And so yours is the gate 40. This is the gate of aloneness. And a lot of times terminology in human design takes on a different meaning than what we really recognize it to be in the modern world. So this is just the gift of providing, and that you carry the will to contribute to your community and powerfully support other people. you really thrive at the center of a family or community. And you do this through the energy of that 3 line, that adventure, that fuck around, find out, I must do this on my own, to bring that information forward to better serve my community and my family. So it's that's a theme that's going to be very strong for you. And it's going to show up in really everything that you do. But again, it's very heart driven. And because that gate is in your defined heart center, you always have consistent access to that energy. So if you look in your heart center, you'll see gate 40.
Yep.
And that's your conscious sun. It's just a very strong theme for you. So
interesting.
I guess one of the other things that stands out about your chart is that you're quad left. And this is, anytime I see this, you want to have a quad left on your team because they are very strategic. They have this consistent way of processing information. They're very, like, I don't want to say balls to the wall, but focused, strategic. You have this repeatable operating style. Like, you get shit done. Thinking in terms of like systems and directional energy. You have this high capacity to output things in a strategic way in order to get results. So people who work with you are going to know that you have these systems in place and this momentum driven capabilities of how you do everything. So it's just,
I think my VA would agree with that. Yeah. I think she would be like, yep, that's Stephanie. Love that. So interesting.
But what a great thing to have as, you know, entrepreneurial, soul-led, like, these are great qualities to have.
I agree. So, Dena, for somebody who is listening, who is an entrepreneur, has not yet dug into human design, but maybe feels like, well, one, maybe they feel like they're not leading their business in an aligned way, or two, maybe they just feel like they're juggling so many things and something just feels off. What would you recommend for them? Like, where should they start? I mean, obviously get their human design chart done, obviously, but I mean, if it's so confusing the first time you look at it, it's overwhelming.
It is, and that's why you need someone to hold your hand.
Yes.
And because everyone needs something different. Everybody's like, I could talk to you for 10 hours about your human design chart.
I agree.
But it's going to be more applicable about what do you need right now? How can I guide you? How can I support you? How can I identify things about you that you need right now?
Right.
And so it's really, there's a lot of, I don't want to say hand holding, but.
Yeah, but that's a good way of putting it because, I mean, when I first looked at it, it was overwhelming. And I knew it held answers to it, but I just didn't know where to start. And the coach that I first worked with, she just laid it out in very common language so that I felt like, oh, okay, this actually isn't as confusing as I was making it out to be. And now I look at it and I'm like, okay, I know what this means now. And I feel like now I have an understanding and I can now apply it to my business in ways that make sense to me.
This is so relevant. I'm going to hold up a mirror for you. Like, just as the mirror was held up for me, I'm going to show you exactly who you are. I'm going to instill confidence in you. I'm going to give you permission to do what you came here to do because the signs are on the table. If you're unhappy, if you're misguided, if you're misdirected, if you're tired, if you're worn out, if you're drained, if you're operating below, if you're like barely struggling to keep your head above water and you're just fucking tired of treading water, there are answers in your human design chart. I was there, like as a 6'2" self-projector, I live and I guide through my lived experiences. I was a 911 dispatcher and I needed a job. I had to pay the bills. I had a mortgage. It was killing me. I didn't have family time. It was soul draining work. I was not leading or guiding anyone as a dispatcher, but that was the kind of the pivotal time in my life. And I had to go through those things in order to experience this is not for me.
Yeah.
But it was identifying that. And it's kind of at that point in my life where like the holistic wellness came in, human design showed up. Like I was truly led to do what I came here to do in this lifetime, but I had to go through it myself in order to experience that. So I see that in other people when they come to me and they're like, oh, my soul is not in this. And so we can really look at your chart and say, okay, what is soul led for you? Yeah. What is your vocation? We look at your unconscious Mars when we need direction and helping people guide them towards kind of everyone's born with a core wound, and it shows up consistently like throughout our life, and it's constantly knocking at our door. But when we're aware of it, we don't have to let it overtake our life or guide us. Like,
Right.
we can recognize when it shows up, when it's knocking again, and okay, there you are. My soul is here to learn this in this lifetime, and it's showing up again. And those lessons continue to show up until we really truly feel for them, and we transform that core wound into really our greatest blessing, what we're here to thrive and do and contribute to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. And I also want to add, if you are just contemplating getting your chart read and really like sitting down with a coach, whether it be Dena or somebody else, and really trying to get a better grasp of what this means for you, what I also found when I worked with a coach on mine was, there's so many different ways when you're starting a business that you can market yourself. And some people think like you have to do it all. But after I got my chart read, it helped me to identify like what main marketing channels are most aligned for me as a projector, as a 3/5, as a whatever. So I would even recommend it for those reasons, because there were certain marketing tactics that really just were not aligned for me. But again, in the beginning, when you're starting a business, society leads you to believe that you have to do it all.
It's all a lie.
Yeah. And that's just so not aligned. And so that's why I knew doing the podcast was so aligned. Really pouring myself into content on Instagram was so aligned. Really investing in a quality website was so aligned for me. Public speaking, like there's certain marketing tactics that are just very much aligned with my human design type. And then there were others that was like, I was doing them in the beginning because I thought like, this is what you're supposed to do here in small rural parts of the country. But they really weren't aligned for me. And I could tell that because like one of them was I went onto our local radio station. I was paying for ads every month, which is a bit of an investment. And I kept telling myself like, this is worth it though. The ROI is going to be worth it. Well, the ROI was not worth it. It was a great experience. Don't get me wrong. And I loved getting like compliments from people like, oh, I heard you on the radio. Like naturally that validation goes a long ways. However, after a few months, I was just drained when I had to go do the radio recordings. Even though I loved getting my voice heard, there was a part of it that was draining for me. And that's how I knew that was not aligned. Like that form of marketing was just not meant for me as a projector. And so it helps in that way too, because we all think there's so many different ways you can put yourself out there as an entrepreneur, but it doesn't mean you have to do all of them. Do what feels aligned and right for you. And you won't necessarily know that unless you get your chart read, I feel. So I just wanted to put a plug in about that.
There's so many nuances with that. I agree 1,000%. Like when we're operating outside of our zone of genius and we're doing things and expending energy on things that aren't fulfilling and aren't lighting us up, we're going to feel that, specifically those non-energy types. Sometimes generators and mani-gens can kind of plug through that. But when they're doing that for a long period of time, they're going to experience burnout and resentment.
Yeah.
But and also you haven't...
I was just going to say, like, the whole point of starting a business is to not get burnt out, in my opinion. So, like, yeah, you need to know that.
Amen to that. Soul led. But also you have an undefined throat. So, like, you don't have consistent access to the energy or that operating in that way. And a couple of those channels for you are unconscious. So you might not even be aware of them. But you do have the capacity to operate through many voices. And you have the capacity to be heard by many different types of people because of that openness there. So you just have this way of being able to communicate with lots of different types of people because of that open center. So I guess one of the other things that we didn't talk about was when you have those different shapes in your chart that are either colored in this segment could have gone along with the earlier part of the show, but essentially when you have those centers colored in or they're defined, you are consistently putting that energy out into the world. When we have a lot of open centers or white centers, it means that that's what we pick up from the rest of the world. That's what we are kind of absorbing. So like a lot of times when we have a lot of open centers, we can be very, very overwhelmed by the world around us. We're very overstimulated. Depending on what centers are open for you, you pick up on the fears of other people, you pick up on their thoughts, you pick up on their emotions, you pick up on the stress that, like the open rib center is all about stress.
Gates. Okay.
You have 6 defined gates in your open rib center. So this is all about managing stress and handling stress and picking up stress from other people. It would be fun to dive into that and kind of dissect what's happening there for you. But
absolutely,
in those open centers, if we're not aware of it, we can be really conditioned by them, and it can really begin to rule your life when you're not aware of what's happening there. So a great example of, I only have 2 centers in my body graph defined. My G center, my sense of self, my sense of direction, and my throat, my communication, expression, manifestation. But at one point in my life, I was diagnosed as manic depressive and bipolar because I was just very open and picked up energy, information, fears, anxieties, stresses from everybody else. And I didn't know how to handle it. So just recognizing that I was placed with that label for, a third of my life, thinking that I was broken. Wow. When I was just a very openly spiritual human being, but nobody taught me that.
Yeah.
Nobody was able to guide me through that. I had to figure that out on my own. But now I can be a guide for other people who have similar charts, or any chart really, but just like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel this way. What you're feeling is just misguided energy. So when we understand our own energy and how it's meant to operate, we have the capacity to really move through life in our own greatness, in our own uniqueness, and in our own beauty.
Beautiful. Very well said, Dena. I know there's so many avenues you can go down, but I just wanted to give listeners a tease today. And honestly, there's this, more than anything, this intrigues me to just want to set up a session with you myself. But if listeners are intrigued, how can they best connect with you if they would like to learn from you, get their human design chart read? What would be the best way?
You can find me on Instagram or Facebook. I have a link through my Instagram to book a session, but otherwise just reach out. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. My zone of genius is not all of the computer stuff and the website and the systems. That's something that I really need to work on. So like outsourcing that with other people, but
I get it.
Until those systems are put into place, I have a Calendly link. But otherwise, just connecting with me to identify what you need. Like, how can I best serve you?
Love it. And I'll put those links in the show notes for the podcast. All right. Any final words of wisdom you'd like to share before we jump into rapid fire questions?
If there was a gift that I could give to every human being, it would be the gift to know yourself and love yourself unconditionally. And it's taken me 45 years to figure that out. And so if I can bypass stress, worry, undo happiness that you're experiencing by educating and teaching you how to really truly love and see yourself, the best gift that you can give yourself.
Yeah, preach to that. I agree. Yep, to own your worth and to just unapologetically love yourself and understand yourself at a soul level is just some of the best work you could do in this lifetime. And it is just the biggest gift you can give yourself. And when there's people like you out there that we can utilize your expertise to help us to better understand ourselves, I just think, why would you not want to utilize those people? Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing your expertise today. This is a topic that I have just in the last year become really obsessed with in a healthy way. But I just think every business owner, you don't have to be a business owner. Everybody should really know their human design type to understand them, even at just like the most basic level. But if you already understand it at a basic level and you're ready to dive deep, reach out to Dena. There's so many different coaches out there for human design. But what I love about Dena is she's right here in our neck of the woods here in Eastern Iowa. You know, you can get together with her at the coffee shop if you want, and you can sit down and you can talk in depth about your chart. You know, before I knew about Dena, I thought the only way to learn more in depth about human design was to use these big name human design coaches like out in LA and stuff. And it's like, you're going to pay a pretty penny, though it's worth it. You're going to pay a pretty penny to utilize their services typically. So to know that there's somebody like right here in my neck of the woods is a game changer. So seriously, if you're local, reach out to her. If you're not, reach out to her as well. But it's just, there's something to be said about sitting down face to face and really digging into this stuff and utilizing each other's energy to learn more about you and how you can just truly live a soul aligned life and potentially build a soul aligned business as well. So end of rant. All right, Dena, I like to end all of my collabs with some rapid fire questions. So what is a small habit or ritual that makes you feel like your next level self right now?
Nature.
Yes. Is there any specific, like for me, water is my element. Is there any specific element in nature that you feel drawn to?
Yes, for sure. So we live out in the middle of nowhere along the river.
Awesome.
I can
Okay.
step outside and within a few, like 1 minute, I can have my feet in the water, feet in the sand, surrounded by trees, nature, birds. My husband and my son mow paths along the river. So I just have my own little nature preserve. So it's immediate reset. So specifically for those non-energy types or everyone needs a good reset. But
Yeah.
like if you eliminating the distractions and you're so overpowered, inundated with too many distractions. And we become so disconnected from the soul-led messages, the intuition, the guidance when we're constantly being bombarded by that information. So leave your phone at home, disconnect from the things, from the people, from the noise in order for you to connect with yourself. And when you can do that in nature, it's the biggest and fastest way for yourself.
I love that. I totally agree. Yeah. What is one mantra or affirmation that you're currently living by or that you tell yourself daily?
Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and then go do that.
I love that. What makes you come alive? Yeah. That's a good one. That's powerful. Is there one thing that you are currently working on manifesting in your life?
More freedom.
Yes. Oh, yes. Same here. What is one piece of advice that you'd like to give to your younger self?
I wish I would have looked in the mirror sooner.
Yeah. Relating back to that story that you told in the beginning. Yep.
I wish I could have seen myself in my brilliance, in my unique, genuine capacity sooner.
Yeah. I mean, I do believe in divine timing, but I totally get why you would say that. Yeah. So you could have started this journey earlier in life potentially. And absolutely, I get that. All right, last one. Is there a dream destination on your vision board?
The turquoise waters off of Spain and Greece. Bucket list.
I agree, Dena. I totally agree. Greece that's my bucket list as well. Yeah. Love that. Those turquoise waters are like calling my name. So cool.
Maybe we'll go on a trip someday.
I mean, I'm open to that. I just decided as you were talking, like, we're not going to meet at a coffee shop to do my reading. We're going to meet at your house. Like, if you're like out there in nature, like, I don't want to be in a busy coffee shop under fluorescent lighting to get this understanding. Okay. Like, we need to be out in nature together. So
1,000%. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's another one of the pieces of having this space is to share it with other people. So
agreed.
The soul-led retreats and alignments and incorporating the nature tools to help people identify their channels and their gates. And there's lots of things magically brewing, waiting for the right timing for them to be birthed.
I love it. Divine timing's a real thing. Good for you. Well, thank you again for agreeing to come on, Dena. Thank you for blessing us with your knowledge. Human design can be such a complex topic for some people. So thank you for dumbing it down for us. Thank you for making it a little more digestible especially for those who are all new to this. But more than anything, thank you for being willing to speak your truth and share your voice with my listeners. I really appreciate it. And you guys, if you are intrigued by anything that you heard today, please DM her. Please reach out to her. I guarantee you will not regret it. Like I said before, maybe I didn't say this, but me digging in and understanding my human design type is a huge factor that helped me truly build a soul aligned business. And now I just know, like, I wake up every day. I love what I do because I have built a business that is aligned with my type, with my soul's mission and journey. And I just want that for everybody. And you should want that for yourself. So go get your chart done, go get it read, sit down with Dena, just let yourself have a more thorough understanding of this because it's going to help you in more ways than one. So that's my plug.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for listening. And until next time, I will talk to you guys all next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self. And I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go.